62% of this country is in drought right now. Pasture's dying from Texas to Carolina. Hay went up to $14 a bale at my feed store last week. Every farmer with cattle, goats, or horses is sitting at his fence right now wondering if he's going to have to sell the herd before August. If that's you, listen close. Your pasture ain't dead, it's laying down. There's a difference. And in the next 15 minutes, I'm going to show you the exact 4-paddock system that brings dying drought grass back to graze and height in 60 days. Total setup cost under $200. I know it works because in the summer of 1988, my pasture looked exactly like yours, probably looks right now. Brown to the horizon. 23 Herefords staring at me like I'd failed them. I was 29 years old and I was crying on my porch. Then a man named Bob, 78-year-old neighbor across the road, walked over with a coil of plastic wire and $42 worth of fence posts. 20 minutes later, he taught me something that saved my farm. Bob died in 2003, but what he taught me is still feeding my livestock today. Tell me right now in the comments, what state are you watching from and how bad is the drought where you are? I'm replying to every single one of y'all tonight. Welcome to Grandpa Earl's homestead. We bring back the old ways, one lost trick at a time. Stick with me. The 4-paddock system is coming up, and later in this video, I'm gonna tell you the one mistake I made in week 3 of 1988 that almost cost me everything, even after Bob showed me the system. Don't miss that part. Let me paint you July 12th, 1988. I'd been awake since 4 in the morning. Margaret was inside making coffee. I was at the south fence counting Herefords, 23 head, 40 acres. Should have been enough, but Iowa hadn't had a real rain since April. 40 acres burned brown to the dirt. The cows was rib thin. I'd been buying hay 3 weeks at premium prices and the bank account was bleeding fast. I sat down on the bottom rail of that fence and I cried. Real crying. I was 29 years old and I was about to fail at the only thing my granddaddy cow ever asked me to do. To keep the family farm alive. Bob Hennessy lived in the white farmhouse across the road, 78 years old. Wife had died 2 years before. Lived alone with a coonhound named Maybelle. He'd been watching me from his porch. He waited till I dried my face. Then he crossed the road carrying 2 things. A coil of plastic-coated wire, a canvas sack full of skinny fence posts I'd never seen before. He sat on the same rail I'd been crying on, lit a cigarette, looked at my pasture a long minute without saying nothing. Then he turned to me and said the 11 words that changed everything. Earl, you ain't got a rain problem. You got a patience problem. I'm gonna tell you exactly what he taught me. But first, if you've been sitting at your own fence, feeling like a failure because your pasture's dying, you ain't a failure. They never taught us the old way. Most folks ain't lucky enough to have a Bob across the road, but you got one now, sitting right here on the other side of this screen. Here's what Bob explained on that fence rail. Most important idea in this whole video. Grass don't grow from the top down, it grows from the roots up. Every blade in your pasture is solar panels for the plant. Big wide leaves catch sunlight, turn it to sugar, send it down to the roots to store. When a cow eats grass below 4 inches, the plant loses 70% of its solar panels. So it dips into the stored energy in the roots to grow new leaves. In good times, when it rains regular, that's fine. Plenty of stored energy. The plant bounces back. But in drought, that root reserve is all the plant's got. Once it's gone, the plant dies. Permanent. Don't matter how much rain comes in September. Some of your grass is just gone forever. A pasture grazed too short in drought takes 2 to 3 years to recover. A pasture protected during drought bounces back in 30 to 60 days. So when Bob looked at my 40 acres of brown grass that morning, he saw what I couldn't see. Most of that grass wasn't dead. It was laying low. Conserving energy, just waiting for me to get the cows off. But I'd had them grazing that same 40 acres for 3 months straight, eating every blade down to dirt. I was killing the pasture and didn't even know it. That's the trap. Folks see brown pasture and think no grass. Gotta keep moving the animals around. Animals find one green patch. Kill it. Find the next. Kill that by August. The whole pasture's dead because the roots burned through their savings. Now you understand something. 95% of cattle owners in this country don't. You're already ahead of folks been farming 20 years. I gotta pause for a minute. Cause thinking about Bob, that old man crossing the road in 988 with a coil of wire, stirs something in me. Bob didn't know me. We'd waved from our porches for years, but never really talked. He didn't know me nothing. He could have sat on his porch with Maybelle and his coffee and watched me lose my farm. Nobody would have blamed him, but he didn't. He grabbed his gear. He crossed the road. He gave me 20 minutes that saved every year I've had since. When Bob died in 2003, I sat in the back of his funeral and realized something. He taught me a system I've been using 15 years and never wrote down. If I died tomorrow, everything Bob gave me would die with me too. Same with Granddaddy Cal's lessons. Same with Grandmother Ruth's notebooks in my pantry drawer. So Margaret and I spent 2 years putting it all together. 10 ebooks. Over 100 lost methods my family figured out across 3 generations. Plus what Bob taught me, what neighbors shared over 50 years of living on this land. There's a whole section on pasture management, rotation diagrams, warm season seed schedules by region, drought protocols, sacrifice area layouts. Stuff Bob would have written down if anybody had thought to ask him. Also a section on turning your land into income. My neighbor Frank uses the road map and clears $5,000 a month off 5 acres selling grass-fed beef, eggs, and seed at the farmer's market. Most folks who use the bundle save around $10,000 a year. The link's right below this video, right under the subscribe button. Grab it before the algorithm makes homestead content harder to find. Now stay with me. Bob's system is coming up next. Costs less than 1 premium bale of hay. All right, Bob's 4 paddock rotation system, exactly what he taught me. Take whatever pasture you got, 5 acres or 50, don't matter. Divide it into 4 equal sections. Paddock 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't need permanent fence. Don't need posts. You have to pound in. Don't need 3 weekends of work. You need poly wire. Thin plastic-coated electric wire. Step-in posts. Plastic posts you push in with your boot. 25 posts. 200 feet of wire per dividing line. 1 hour to set the whole thing up. The math poly wire. $35 for a 660-foot roll. Step-in posts. $50 for 25. Small solar fence energizer. 80 to 100 at Tractor Supply. Gate handle $15. Total under $200. Lasts 10 years. Here's the rotation. Cattle go into paddock 1 when grass is 6 to 8 inches tall. They eat down to 4 inches, not a blade lower. When you see them starting to graze close to dirt, you move them. Same day, they move to paddock 2. Paddock 1 rests. Normal weather, paddock 1 rests 30 to 45 days. In drought, 60 to 90 days. Grass uses that time to grow back strong and rebuild roots. When paddock 2 hits 4 inches, animals move to 3, then 4. By the time 4 is done, paddock 1's 6 inches again, ready for round 2. That's the whole system. Simple as it sounds. But pasture productivity goes up 30 to 50% compared to one big field. Hay bill goes down 50 to 70%. Soil holds water better. Animals are healthier on fresh grass. You just learned what every cattle textbook charges $40 for free. Right here. Welcome to the system Bob died believing in. Now here's where most folks mess up. They learn the 4 paddock system and jump right into rotating the animals. Normal weather. That works. In drought, you'll kill all 4 paddocks at the same time. Because in drought, grass don't grow back in 4 weeks. It grows back in 8 to 12 weeks. So when you cycle through paddock 1, 2, 3, 4 in those first 30 days, paddock 1 ain't ready when you come back. Animals graze it down again before roots recover. Now you got dead grass in all 4 paddocks. Simultaneous. This is where Bob taught me the sacrifice area. You pick one small section, maybe an acre, maybe 2. Make it the part of your land that's already roughest. The patch near the barn where dirt's packed the corner that never grew great anyway. Close to water so you ain't hauling buckets in 100-degree afternoon. You put your animals there. All of them. You feed them hay in that one small area. Right off that section for the rest of the season. It's gonna get pounded. Grass dies. You're sacrificing 1 acre to save the other, 39. While the cattle's confined to the sacrifice area, your 4 paddocks are rest in. Real rest. 60 to 90 days. Roots get deep. Grass comes back ready. Then when that first paddock hits 6 inches, even if it took 8 weeks, then you start the rotation. I know what you're thinking, Earl. This means I'm buying hay for 2 months. Yeah, $1,200 for 5 cattle. Without rotation. Same 5 cattle. 90 days of hay cause the pasture stays dead till October plus the cost of replanting the whole pasture next spring. $4,000 to $6,000. You pay $1,200 to avoid $5,000. You save your farm for the next decade. Now the insurance policy. The thing that means you never go through this kind of summer again. Warm season perennial grasses. Most pastures in this country are planted with cool season grasses. Kentucky bluegrass, tall fescue, orchard grass. Those love spring and fall. Hate summer. When July hits and the ground bakes, they go dormant. Quit growing altogether. Exactly the worst time for that to happen. But there's another kind of grass, native to the American prairies, been growing here 10,000 years before any of our great-great-grandparents stepped off a boat. These grow in the heat, roots 6 to 10 feet deep. Yeah, you heard me. 10 feet, finding water nobody else can reach. 5 of them to know. Switchgrass, the MVP, 6 feet tall. Cattle love it. Tolerates poor soil. Big blue stem, used to cover the Great Plains. High protein, eastern gamma grass. Tasty, productive in heavier soils. Indian grass, beautiful golden seed heads. Strong fall producer. Little blue stem, tough little plant for poor dry soil. Here's the play. You don't replace your cool season pasture. You plant warm season in part of it, 1 or 2 acres for every 10 you got. So when July hits and your fescue goes dormant, you got an emergency paddock of switchgrass just getting started. Cows eat that through August while everybody else buys hay at premium. $80 to $120 in seed per acre. Plant it May or June. Broadcast the seed. Run a cultipacker or drive a 4-wheeler over it. First year, it establishes. Second year, graze light. Third year on, full strength forever. This one move pays for itself the first drought year. After that, pure profit. You're learning in 12 minutes what took me 20 years to piece together. Remember at the beginning, I told you about the mistake I almost made in week 3 of 1988. Here it is. By week 3, I was excited watching the pasture come back. Grass was rising, roots were setting. I could see the difference, so I got impatient. Cattle had been on the sacrifice area 3 weeks. Eating hay I was buying at premium. Hay bill was killing me. The paddock one had about 3.5 inches. Almost ready. Not quite. I almost moved him. Had my hand on the gate. About to do it. And from across the road I heard Bob hollering, "Earl, hold up." He came across in those slow, careful 78-year-old steps, got to the fence, looked at the grass, said, 3.5 inches. Ain't 4 inches, son. 2 more weeks. Hay bill's the price of patience. I about argued. 2 more weeks meant another $400 in hay. Money I didn't have, but I trusted him because he'd been right about everything else. 2 weeks later, the grass was 6 inches. Cattle went in, grazed proper, came out at 4 inches, healthy. Paddock 1 recovered fast and was ready again in 5 weeks. If I'd moved him early, I'd have killed Paddock 1, lost the whole rotation. Bob saved me from myself twice that summer. Let me save you the same mistakes. 6 errors folks make. 1, moving animals before grass hits 6 inches. Patience is the whole game. 2, letting animals graze below 4 inches. 4 is the floor. 3, driving a tractor across dry pasture. Compaction destroys soil for years. 4, fertilizing when there's no rain coming, burns the plant. 5, waiting for rain to start your rotation. Too late by then. Start in Drought. 6. Put in your sacrifice area in your best pasture corner. Pick the worst piece you got. Let me walk you through your first 60 days, week by week. Week 1. Buy your gear at Tractor Supply. Polywire posts, Energizer, gate handles, $190. Spend a Saturday walking your land and dividing it into 4 paddocks. Pick the worst section as your sacrifice area. Get all animals into the sacrifice area. Start hay. The other 4 paddocks have 0 animals on them. Now, rest day 1 starts. Weeks 2 through 4, animals stay on the sacrifice area. You buy hay, watch the pasture, go to the feed store and sit in the truck, and watch other farmers loading up hay too, but don't feel ashamed no more, 'cause you know something they don't. This week also, plant your warm season insurance crop, 1 or 2 acres of switchgrass and big blue stem. Broadcast, press it in water if you can. Weeks 5 and 6, walk paddock 1 every morning. Get yourself a yardstick, measure the grass. When it hits 6 inches only, move the cattle in. They graze 5 to 7 days. When grass hits 4 inches, move them to paddock 2. Paddock 1 starts its second rest. Week 7 and 8, same with paddock 2. Animals graze 5 to 7 days, then move 2 paddocks and rest. 2 been grazed once. Sacrifice area gets total rest now. Week 9. By now, about 63 days and paddock 1's grown back to 6 inches. The rotation's working on its own. Hay bill stops, pasture is alive, sacrifice area replantable in fall. That's the promise. Grass back to grazing height in 60 days. Real plan, real numbers. Tell me in the comments, how many acres you working with, how many animals on it. I read every single one tonight, and I'll give you all individual advice on setting up your own rotation. 63 days from today, you could be the only farmer in your county with green grass in August. Let me tell you what nobody told me about the summer of '88. The worst part wasn't the money I lost, wasn't the cattle I almost had to sell, wasn't the hay bill or the bank manager calling. The worst part was the feed store on Saturday mornings. I'd back the truck up to the dock and stand in line with 12 other farmers buying premium hay at 4 times normal price. We'd nod, pretend everything was fine, talk about the weather like it was a polite conversation and not the thing killing. To us, in that line every Saturday, I noticed something. About 20 farms in the county, but only 12 of us was in line. Where was the other 8? Took me till September to figure it out. They wasn't there 'cause they didn't need to be. They was the rotational guys. Folks who'd been doing what Bob taught me. They had green pasture, fat cattle. They was saving $12,000 each while we was losing it. You don't have to stand in that feed store line. You don't have to feel that shame. There's another path. Bob proved it to me in 20 minutes in 1988. I'm proving it to you in 20 minutes today. Across the road, be somebody's Bob someday. Subscribe and share this with somebody whose pasture is dying right now, especially that neighbor too proud to ask for help. Send them this video. Be the Bob across their road, and the full bundle. Every diagram, every seed schedule, every trick Bob ever taught me, plus 3 generations of my family's notebooks, is in the description. The next video opens a door I've been wanting to open for years. There's a hidden number that determines whether you're making money on your livestock or losing it. 90% of small farmers don't know this number exists. Bob told me in 1991, 3 years after he saved my pasture. When he said it, I almost dropped my coffee. Get your